Today we're going to look at the switchboard for Unreal Engine and how to set it up for a performance capture scenario. I'm going to start setting up a switchboard for a brand new project. I've got my notes here. I'm going to open a project without any plugins, and we'll start everything all together. I'm going to use a blank project with no starter content, and I'll call it Switchboard Setup. And the first plugin that I'm going to enable is this one. That's a HDRI backdrop, just so we have something to look at. So I'm going to make a new level called a main, and in this I'll put the HDR backdrop. And save. Now we'll go and load a bunch of other plugins that we'll need for this. Many of them are in this virtual production tab. So we'll scroll down. We're going to need the TakeRecorder. We're going to need the switchboard. We're going to need virtual production utilities. I'm not 100% sure if I'm using these or not, but I figured it couldn't hurt. I'll also toggle this on, although we're not currently set up to use the virtual camera, but coming up soon we're going to incorporate this into our workflow and we'll start to use this. We're also going to enable the multi-user stuff, which is not in there. I'll go back to all, multi-user editing, and TakeRecorder multi-user synchronization. Now I'll check my cheat sheet, and these are the main plugins for this kind of workflow. In our situation, we also have a few other devices, including the ARKit face that we're going to run, and we have StretchSense gloves and Optitrack, so I'm going to enable those. I don't believe I have the StretchSense plugin here. Mocap. I don't, so we're going to ignore that one for the moment. We'll get the live link. I think this is enabled by default. Yep. And then we're going to get the ARKit and the ARKit face. We need both of those. And the Optitracks. We'll take the streaming client and the live link. I think that's all of my bits from my notes, and then we'll restart. So that's it for plugins. Now we should have this switchboard icon, and under here, under this arrow, is a switchboard listener. That's required, so we'll toggle that on. What that does is it starts a little shell that creates basically a listener on specified port. This here is the main button to bring up the switchboard, but that's not the only way to bring up the switchboard. So here it is here, it's configured for our last project. I'm going to clear that out by creating a new configuration, and it will be automatically named after the currently loaded project and point at the U project for the currently loaded project. And down here is the Perforce section. We are not using Perforce at the moment, so I'm just going to click OK. Now nothing changed here, but it did change. When you close it and open it again, it will change. And before I open it, I'll show you another way that we're using to open it. In our project, I have copied over these shortcuts, one for the listener and one for the bat file. If we show file location, you can see at this path is the bat file that launches the switchboard. You could also launch it like this. Okay, so here we have a new setup, and we're going to start by adding our devices. The Aja, we have two of these, and I have their IP addresses over here in my little list. Copy this. We have an A and B device. And these reliably connect pretty much every time. You'll get the green lights on these. The next one that we'll add is the live link face. This is going to be my iPhone. And the IP address, because we're using a Wi-Fi hotspot from this computer for our connection, and that's how we're getting our wireless devices connected to this computer, we're going to use this to get our IP address. So this is my phone, and this is the iPad. I can put both of these in there, but let's start with just the phone. And I'm also going to share my phone screen here and show you some of the setup for the iPhone. So here I'm going to do a voiceover because this is the first time I've used NDI to stream my phone screen into OBS, and it's fucked up all the audio. So here I'm showing under the gear icon you need to set a target. This is the computer that you're communicating to with the device, and here I've set the Wi-Fi hotspot address, but I've also set a target for the regular network address, but this one doesn't work in our installation. This was just me doing some testing. You'll also need to go into the OSC section and turn on OSC, so that needs to be enabled. That's how it communicates to the switchboard. The listener IP address is set by, that's just the device address, so that gets set automatically. That's not changeable. And the port is the default 8000. And under the OSC target section, this address is actually set by the switchboard. So this is the address that you've specified at the top of the switchboard configuration. This is the switchboard address, and it gets broadcast through OSC into the app and set here. So you can change it, but there's no real need for you to change that. You can see we're not connecting, and it's because we haven't set up a desktop with a TakeRecorder. So let's do that next. We're going to set up an Unreal device. We'll call this O3 Desktop. Because we have 4 computers here, and I'm on number 3. And the address of this one is going to be this the one that's coming from the Wi-Fi hotspot. When I do this, the iPhone turns green. Great. We have a slightly modified the switchboard code. When I say we, a guy named James Drown, who's been working with me for the last few weeks, he has made it so that we can read in the battery level through this little icon. And he's also made a little thing over here so that we could blank the screen. James has also started implementing a StretchSense device, which is in here, this HandEngine. This is for our StretchSense gloves. I'm not sure it works yet, but we'll give it a go here as the last item in our list. What else have we got? We've got Motive, so we're going to add Motive. The address for Motive, I'm going to double check here, is ending in 39. Oops, wrong box. Motive reliably connects as well. Oh, what happened this time? I haven't logged in on that computer, so I'm going to go do that now. I'll pause the video and go turn that computer on. Okay, Motive is running now and set up to be live, and when I plug in, I get the blue light. And we've noticed that this is how it always goes. It will stay a blue light until we roll our first take. So I can do that now, and I will roll on these 1, 2, 3, 4 devices that I have set up currently. This one is not plugged in or set up, but it should roll on these other devices. And not rolling here unexpectedly, but I'll cut. Took a while, but eventually it did cut. And then here, the motive is now green. So after you roll your first take, motive turns green. These won't roll if the take number has already been used. So that's a feature of these devices. It won't override a take. So if I put another number here, I think these are going to roll. Let's try it. Yeah. Okay, next, what else do we have in our device list for us? I don't think anything else. We have a HandEngine, but we'll come back to that. So now let's work on the desktop and get this set up. So we'll come over to here and go to Project Settings. There are a number of project settings here. Let's start with the ones in the Virtual Production Editor. So we need to start an OSC server when the editor launches. And we need to set this to be our Wi-Fi hotspot address. And this port needs to be set to the server port, which is 8000. And down here where it says OSC listeners, we need to add one of these. And there's one of these in the Switchboard plugin. And it's called OSC Switchboard. And this will start the listener here in this engine, which will allow it to connect. I think there's something in here. Let's see here. Oh, this is where you can identify roles. So I haven't done that. I don't have any roles identified. And what roles are all about? Roles are for when you have a multi-user environment and you want each computer that comes up that launches your same project, you want each computer to do a different thing. You need to maybe perform some logic on scene open that sets it in a particular kind of way. So for example, when we add into our workflow the virtual camera, we're going to want to bring up that machine. We're going to set up that scene to look through the virtual camera and record the virtual camera. All right, with those things set, let's try and connect. So it stays orange and doesn't connect. No, it doesn't connect because we have another plugin. Oh, I know the issue. I'm not running the listener. So I'm looking down here. I don't see the Unreal Engine listener. So let's launch that. Let's see if that improves things. So it's found the listener and we get a blue light. Now the only way I've found to get this to be a green light is by launching it from here. The issue is that it needs to start the OSC server on the Unreal Engine, inside of the Unreal Engine. And I can only, the only way I can find to do that is to launch it from the multi-user server button here. And what you see there is that blue message saying that the OSC server started, and that will make this green. So now all of our devices are green. We can open the TakeRecorder here, and we can see this name will change when I change this name. And we'll give it a higher number, or 8. Now all of these devices should roll when I hit the record. This one is not rolling, so perhaps I have forgotten something. Oh, I think it's not rolling because I don't have any objects to record. So we've got this face here, so let's just add a live link phone device. See if that helps. I think it's maybe smart enough not to roll if you don't have any things to record. Let's see if that's it. That is it. So there you go. we have something to record. We have to add something to record in order to roll on all the things. So that's pretty much the whole of it. So I'll stop here. This is how you set up the switchboard for a performance capture kind of a scenario where you've got a bunch of devices you want to record to. Hopefully this video was helpful for someone trying to do something similar. Until next time, thanks again for joining me.